Hi, everyone.
Greetings. In Crisis of Conscience, the chapter Double Standards, in the last segment, Ray has connected not just contrasted Malawi policy and Mexican policy going back to 1960, but now he's brought in other Latin American countries to show the conflict in the advice given and the application of that advice to local situations. It's pretty messy.
Yeah.
And he knows all of this, so it gets more complicated here as we get into the Malawi situation in the late 60s.
So they have the same issue, but they're getting different counsel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 4 years after that counsel was given to Mexico, the first eruption of violent attacks against Jehovah's Witnesses in Malawi took place, 1964. And the issue of paying for a party card arose. The position taken by the Malawi branch office was that to do so would be a violation of Christian neutrality, a compromise unworthy of a genuine Christian. The world headquarters knew that this was the position taken. The violence subsided after a while and then broke out again in 1967, so fiercely that thousands of witnesses were driven into flight from their homeland. The reports of horrible atrocities in increasing number came flooding in to the world headquarters. What effect did it have on them and on their consciences as regards the position taken in Mexico? In Malawi, witnesses were being beaten and tortured. Women were being raped. Homes and fields were being destroyed, and entire families were fleeing to other countries. Determined to hold to the organization's stand that to pay for a party card would be a morally traitorous act. At the same time, in Mexico, witness men were bribing military officials to complete a certificate falsely stating that they had fulfilled their military service obligations. And when they went to the branch office, the staff there followed the Society's counsel and said nothing to indicate in any way that this practice was inconsistent with organizational standards or the principle of God's Word. Knowing this, how were those in the position of highest authority in the organization affected? Consider.
9 years after the Mexico branch wrote their first letter, they wrote a second letter, dated August 27, 1969, also addressed to President Knorr. This time they emphasized a particular point they felt had been overlooked. Set out is material from pages 3 and 4 of the letter provided me by the branch committee, and I have underlined the main point the branch focuses on. So here's the points he's underlined. After checking back in the files, we have found a letter dated February 4th, 1960, in which the question was asked as to what to do because many were paying a sum of money to obtain the legal document given to those of draft age. However, it was not mentioned in the question that when this document is obtained, it places the receiver in the first reserve, subject to being called if and when an emergency should arise, which the Army is in uniform could not handle. So our question is this: does this change the policy set out in your letter of June 2nd, 1960? Page 2, which answered our letter mentioned above. And here's the relevant part of the answer. From what has been quoted from your letter is what? No, this is still the Mexico follow-up letter, 1969, page 4. What has been quoted from your letter is what has been followed, but it seems that there would be some modification in this when it is considered that these brothers are in the first reserves. That is, they're technically part of the Army then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it appears that Jehovah's blessing has been on his servants here because the work has progressed very well over the years, and this even though the majority of the circuit and district servants and those in the Bethel family have followed this procedure. We would very much appreciate having some information from you on this matter if a change should be made or not. If a change is made, and this procedure is not followed, then the brothers could not obtain a passport, but they can always attend an assembly in the country. If a change is made, what will be the position of those in the first reserves? How should this be handled? We will await your answer on the matter.
The reply, sent dated September 5, 1969, bears the stamp of the New York Corporation, but the symbol before the date indicates that it was written by the President through a secretary. And then it gives you how you know that. A is a symbol for the President. AG is a symbol held by one of his secretaries. Keeping in mind that the World Headquarters was fully informed of the horrible suffering Jehovah's Witnesses in Malawi had already undergone in 1964 and in 1967, because they steadfastly refused to pay for the party card being pushed by the government of their country, consider the reply of September 5, 1969, sent to the Mexican branch's inquiry. So now here's the letter. Dear brothers, we have your letter of August 27, in which you asked a question about brothers who had registered in Mexico and are now in the first reserves. The letter that you quoted of September 4, 1960, covers the whole matter. There is nothing more to be said. The responsibility will be upon these individuals if they are ever called up, as to what they are going to do, and that is soon enough to take any action. In the meantime, these brothers who have registered and who have paid a fee are free to go ahead in the service. Not that we are giving our approval in this matter, but it is their conscience, not ours, and that has allowed them to take the course of action that they have taken. If their conscience allows them to do what they have done, and they are not compromising in any way when you just lay the matter on the shelf, there is no reason for you to answer any questions or give comment to individuals, nor to enter into a discussion. Someday we may have to face the issues, someday we may have to face the issue, and they may have to make a decision, as the letter points out, and then it will be for them to decide. We cannot decide the lives of everyone in the world. If the consciences of these persons allows them to do what they did and to be registered in the reserves, that is for them to worry about, if they are worried. It is not for the Society's office to be worried about it. Sheesh.
Aren't they sloughing off their responsibility to give? They're asking for a ruling, and they're not getting one. And obviously the consciences of the brothers are bothering them, because aren't they now part of the army, technically? Yeah. So if they are...
That's not neutrality.
That's not neutrality, defined by the Society's normal way of thinking about everything, including voting and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, the letter goes on. The Society has always said that people should comply with the law, and if the individual has done what you have described in your letter, and it does not hurt his conscience, then we leave the matter just as it is. There is no reason for us to decide another man's conscience. Well, that's big of them.
Well, it's not even consistent, though. They do it all the time.
Is it? Nor to get into an argument or controversy over the matter. If the individuals are not compromising in the sense of taking up arms, sorry, it's very hard to read this.
Yeah.
Taking up arms, and what they are doing continues to allow them to beat their swords into pruning shears, then the decision rests with them. If they change that position in their lives, that is soon enough for the overseers and the congregation to take action. So leave things stand as they are and have been since February of 1960 with no further comment. You know, basically say,
don't
leave
bug
us alone,
us,
don't bug us. May Jehovah's rich blessing go with you, your brother's Watchtower Bible Tract Society.
Yeah.
What makes all this so utterly incredible, Ray says, is that the organization's position on membership in the military has always been identical to its position on membership in a political organization. In both cases, any witness who enters such membership is automatically viewed as disassociated. And here you have branch people and circuit overseers doing this for years. Yet the Mexico Branch Committee has made crystal clear that all these witnesses who had obtained the completed certificate of military service by means of a bribe were now placed in the first reserve of the military. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Next time, back to the opposite policy in Malawi. What's our link?
It's a video of Ray Francis from his second book, In Search of Christian Freedom, Whitewash Self, Paint Others Black, Hypocrisy of JW Propaganda.
Yeah. See you next time.